Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. So the next photo, because listen, man, I could talk to you for days, but the next photo is a breakfast table.
Yeah.
There's a laptop there.
Yeah.
There's a coffee that looks that it's been drunk a little bit. Maybe a little cup with yogurt, could be. There's a glass of fruit juice, and behind is this incredible scene that looks like Greece.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever been, but it's like the blue sky, beautiful ocean. It's an islandish feel to it. There's this sort of the different kind of layered houses that all in white. I don't even know what they use for the houses to be so bright white.
I think they paint them.
Oh, okay, it's paint. Okay,
I think so.
So this looks like your morning thing, and it's called Effort. You called it Effort by Aaron Landis.
Okay, I don't know why I gave those names, but this is Santa fucking Rini. This isn't just Greece, and of course it's yogurt. It's Greek yogurt, the best yogurt, the only yogurt that counts.
Okay.
So this is what I should have called this is another tough day at the office, because if you follow my Facebook and my Instagram, so you know. So I've been a Nomad I thought you were going to bring these out in order. So I thought this was going to be number one. Like, we've backed into this. Like, you already understand, dear listeners, that I am a nomad. I've been traveling for 5 years. So even through the pandemic, as we know. So it started off as 3 months. I broke up with my girlfriend and we shared an apartment together in Israel. And I didn't want to pay 2 rents because Tel Aviv was incredibly expensive. I think it was just voted as the most expensive city in the world recently, like relative to income and such. Obviously, it's not Zurich or Tokyo, or Hong Kong for that matter.
Right.
But it's really crazy expensive. So I didn't want to pay 2 rents. So I said, okay, you just keep the furniture and stuff for now, and I'll travel for 3 months until the lease is up. But it's been 5 years.
Wow.
And so, I mean, you didn't let me finish why I'm a traveler. There is another reason why I became a traveler, why I am a traveler. And it's really even more of an influential reason than going on the family trip as a child, and more than just the innate wanderlust that I seem to have. It's because of the Grateful Dead. Are you a Deadhead by any chance?
Nope, I'm not a Dead. I can't I couldn't recognize the tune.
Well, maybe we're going to change that.
Is that the hit single, Tisk Tisk?
Yes. Tisk Tisk. So the Grateful Dead were, I can definitively say were, because there was this sort of legacy offshoot of the Grateful Dead after Jerry Garcia, the leader and guitarist and soul of the band, died. There was this offshoot called Dead & Co. that they played with John Mayer, but they just had their last concert recently. So the Grateful Dead were this psychedelic rock band that were born in the height of the hippie psychedelic days of the 1960s. And their claim to fame is that as they travel around and tour, which is basically, these long extended tours. It's not like these artists who tour once every few years and they have 20 shows in the summer and then that's it. Grateful Dead would have like 30 shows over a summer, and they would sometimes do a winter tour, and they would travel every year and just go on and on and on. And so as they travel, their fans don't wait for them to come to a city near them. They travel with them.
Right.
And so when you're a Deadhead and you travel, you don't go to a show, you go to a whole tour. And so you either have your own vehicle, or you go with friends, or you hitch a ride. So when I was like 16, 17 years old, I went to my first Grateful Dead show. And I just became incredibly enamored of this scene of these crazy hippie adventurers who were going from place to place with the band. And so I became one of them. And
wow.
And I would start a season with basically, no tickets, maybe a ticket or two that I managed to buy. It wasn't like now you go online and you buy them. You had to mail away. And it was so hard to get these tickets that people would decorate the envelopes of their mailing, their request for tickets. And like they would marble the paper, and they would do artwork on it in the hopes that their letter would stand out so that the ticket people would pick their letter and open it. This is
Wow.
how fanatical deadheads are.
That's crazy. Yeah, yeah, wow.
And then you camp out. There's usually like a parking lot, and there's a whole scene where people are selling, sandwiches and clothing from Guatemala,
Hmm.
and hippie bracelets and drugs, of course, and nitrous oxide balloons and jewelry and like all this stuff. And so it's a whole community around the scene. Anybody who's listening who's a deadhead immediately knows what I'm talking about.
Of course, of
Um,
course.
Anybody who's ever been to a Grateful Dead show or to a Dead and Company show. And so I would start the season with maybe a couple of tickets if I was lucky, and maybe a couple $100 in my pocket if I was lucky. And I would somehow make it through the whole tour, or most
Oh,
of the
wow.
tour. And I would somehow manage to, somebody would give me a ticket, or I would like sell something. Like I would go to the 7-Eleven or the grocery store and get like cream cheese and cucumbers and tomatoes and bread and make sandwiches and then sell them in the parking lot for enough money to buy a ticket.
Aaron, I had no idea.
And it was like, in a lot of ways, it was my first go at the travel life, but also at the entrepreneurial life, where you're
Yep.
constantly lacking in resources and you have no fucking idea how you're going to get to the next show, how you're going to get a ticket, where you're going to sleep, what you're going to eat. You don't have
Hmm.
any idea. And yet, because you're young and stupid and you don't know better, it all works out. And I've grown
Right.
up, I'm 52 now, and I've had some rough goes at life, and I've had some ups and downs. And thank God my health has never been a problem. I mean, that's the only real problem you can have.
Hmm.
Knock wood. So, but I've been through the meat grinder a few times, and
Sure.
I've become hardened and cynical, and I've closed myself off a lot of ways. I'm an atheist, and I probably have a shorter attention span or patience span than I used to. But it's good to harken back and remember. Talk about memories again. Maybe I should have pulled up a photo of myself with hair down to my ass and a big beard. That'll really shock
So
your
I
viewers.
totally cannot picture you as a deadhead. I had no idea. And as you're saying this, by the way,
You'll have to have me back on the show again and have a whole new
no,
set
of
of photos.
course, for sure. But like as you're saying this, there's the photo of Santor fucking Rini. Is that how you said it? What's the
Santorini.
correct? Okay,
Santorini.
Santorini.
The most beautiful place on planet Earth. And I've seen most places
Okay,
on planet Earth. So I can say that it's definitely the top three of anybody's list. It's
amazing.
extraordinary. Everybody listening, Santorini is on your must visit list. You have to go.
So okay, so how do we zero in on, instead of this just being like, because in a way it's about communicating and inspiring people to kind of go, oh wait a second, this is possible, right?
Yeah.
So for example, you as a young kid get hooked onto the music and the community, and you start following, and you're being entrepreneurial, you're making sandwiches, selling them, all this stuff,
Yeah.
and just so you can like wander with them. And then
Yeah.
somehow that brings you as far as Shanghai, brings you as far as Hong Kong, it brings you as far as
Yeah.
Greece.
I'm so glad you asked the question that way because I got a great connection point. My first real job, as I was working in the art department of a now defunct travel magazine called Travel Holiday. And it was a
Okay.
wonderful place to work. It was part of the Reader's Digest Publications group, and it was amazing photographers and authors, and and it was like I was just looking for a job, any job. I graduated
Right.
with an art degree, for
Hmm.
all the use that was. And it was like they hired me, and it was like the perfect job for me. I worked with wonderful people, really great bosses. Hi, Lou DiLorenzo. Hi, Amy Jaffe. Hi, Maggie Simmons. You're famous.
Nice.
And I spent all day, every day for like 2.5 years looking at these extraordinary photos. I
Wow.
wish I had a great enough memory and knowledge of famous photographers to call them out by name
Mhm.
because they were really Dennis somebody, I don't know, because they were really famous photographers. And this is before
Just like, a name that really has some serious gravitas.
Bill
Dennis.
Bill Black and Stephanie Syrup. Where are you when I need you? Those are the
Nice.
photo editors.
Nice.
So So I'm still friends with these people. I mean, there's an amazing group of people. And I was so lucky to work there because the standards of quality were so high, and I learned how to do things the right way. I mean, my art director, Lou Lorenzo, is like the most anal retentive guy on earth before me.
Hmm.
Now it's me. I mean, I really learned about quality. And we used to just labor over the reproduction of the photographs. And in these days, you had to send stuff out to Zytex if you wanted to take out
Right.
there was no Photoshop, but Photoshop was there, but nothing was really digital yet. I mean,
Not
we
the
were doing
same.
paste up boards still. It was just desktop publishing was just starting. They hired me because I knew how to use Photoshop. I was like the only one,
Hmm.
in Adobe Illustrator. And so we would send like photos out to Zytex and we'd say like adjust the quarter tones, adjust the red and the quarter tones by 3%. I mean, we just labored over this. There was this whole
Yeah, yeah,
language
yeah.
of photography and cropping. And I mean, I learned about design at this place and I learned about really what made great artwork and photography. And, we used to have, you didn't just go online at Shutterstock. We'd had these stock photo books, when we
Sure.
needed
Yep.
stock. And you look through them and you call them up and make an order on the phone. It was crazy.
Yep.
And then we would do these, and then we'd get films in and we would get like match prints to
Hmm.
check out the layouts. And, we used to do the paste ups. There was a hot wax machine that I would roll the,
I love that your excitement has completely hijacked your brain.
yeah. Well, I later started a printing business
Do
and
you
I
remember the
became,
question?
yeah, we're getting there. It was like, yeah, not really. The question was how did you get to the nomad life? I inspire people to do this. But but the,
Yes.
but you're right. You're right. I got because it is a photography show. So I've indulged myself in sharing my passion for the graphic
Aaron,
arts
this is love. It's just love, man.
with
It's
fun.
totally
Well,
love. I
I
love it.
ended up. I mean, my subject that I care about is coincidence and connecting the dots. And when I
Okay.
have you on my podcast as my very first guest, we're going to talk about this afterwards.
Okay.
That's the thing I want to talk to you about. Then we'll dig into that, connecting the dots and coincidence. But but yeah, later on I became a printer, basically a print broker, and I produced coffee table books of
Oh, wow.
beautiful photography, like things like we worked with this guy Marius Jovisa from Lithuania who does these amazing books. His famous book is called Unseen Lithuania, and he did these aerial photography of all Lithuania and put the country on the
Hmm.
map. This is before drones were popular.
Wow, wow.
We didn't even get to talk about drone photography, dude.
An hour goes by so fast.
Yeah, we're kind of already over, aren't we?
It's already been an hour, brother.
So should I give you like the 10-second? I can do it really fast. So I was working at Travel Holiday magazine. I was dreaming about traveling the world. I was chomping at the bit about traveling the world. But I was a young kid starting his career. I was like an art assistant. I wasn't even a
Hmm.
designer. I used to do the paperwork mostly. And I had no money. And just by like having this dream, I sort of willed it into existence. By coincidences that we don't have time to talk about, unfortunately, I was offered a job in Hong Kong and I moved to Hong Kong. And then by other coincidences, I became a sort of an entrepreneur and I started a business. And one thing led to another, as it does in life. And that's the really interesting story. And
Yeah.
then you roll the tape back forward, forward, forward. And I had businesses and I sold a business and I made some money and I got divorced and I lost most of it. And I moved to Israel and all these things that happened. I recreated my career as a
Hmm.
ghostwriter and as a, sort of a small PR agency, you could say. TheContentCompanyLimited.com plug.
For sure. Say it again so people can go check it out.
TheContentCompanyLimited.com. I work with
Nice.
tech entrepreneurs and venture capitalists in the tech world, mostly articles, but also books.
Awesome.
So, I went from dreaming of travel but not being able to, including we did this article, we did this feature story on Santorini, and I was
Hmm.
dreaming about going to this place. So when I finally got to Santorini during the pandemic, it was the very first day that Greece was open for tourism. So I was like the first tourist there. There was nobody
Nice.
there. I had the island to myself, which is the best way to see it. It was amazing. And so it was a real, come full circle moment because I
Yeah.
remembered like So many years ago, I had nothing. I had no career. I had no money. I had no understanding about how to get there. And then I'd been through entrepreneurial fits and starts and some successes and some failures. And then I had to recreate my career after a period of real uncertainty, a real wandering period.
Yep.
And now I make plenty of money and I make what I need to make for a single lifestyle, and I can travel while I'm doing it. So it started by
Amazing.
accident, but I've had 5 years, 5 blessed years of traveling the world. I've been to 30 or 40 countries in this time and had so many great
Amazing.
experiences. And I work remotely. I just need, like we're talking today, laptop, internet connection, and the nuance of how do you market to people, how do you find customers,
Sure.
and that's probably another podcast. But it is possible. So that's the life I'm living now. I do this. This photo should have been called "Another Tough Day at the Office" because I
Hmm.
periodically post photos of my laptop and a cup of coffee at some amazing new place that I'm traveling, and I call it "Another Tough Day at the Office," and my friends with corporate jobs hate me.
Yeah, and that is the best way to end the conversation.
Ta-da!
Aaron, thank you. That was
Thank
awesome.
you. It was really, you promised that it would be, one of the best conversations of my life. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pull your head in, mate. Alto Falitzmacha. But
Okay.
yeah, no, it was really great. Really amazing.
So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.